So how did you get into art?
My mother.
How did you fall in love with art?
I never fell in love with that. I never wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be an architect. Being an artist was the idea of my mother. And she must have been crazy at the time. Because that was the period where most parents want their kids to be lawyers and stuff. But my mother, I think, was also maybe because my mother is like a very, how do I say? Life does not dictate anything for her. She lays her own bed. And she has this kind of whatever I think whatever I want can be done by me. Like my mother have this faith and belief that,
like a can-do spirit.
Yeah, she doesn't need anybody to get anything done, kind of, and she has enough power as a human being to get anything done. And she believes that everything is already there, created by God, who can need to access it, right?
Okay.
So to her at the time, it was like, you're good at drawing. Why don't you just try and be an artist first? And she said, if you don't like it, you can always go back and cross to architecture and, whatever.
How old were you at that time period?
Yeah, I was leaving high school. I was like 15, 16.
Okay. So, and after that, did you go into any formal education?
Yeah, I went to
Ife.
I did fine art 4 years in Ife.
Oh, Obafemi Awolowo
yes.
University in Ife.
Yes. I did 4 years there. Then after that 4 years, when I was in uni, I met an artist, Chief Tolawewe. So I got introduced by his son, who saw my work and said, oh, your work looks like my dad's work. I was like, oh, I'd like to meet your dad. And we got introduced. And I saw the man's work. I was like, oh, we have some similarities.
Okay.
And the man took me under his wings for like a year. It was like, telling me about how to be a professional artist beyond education, beyond academia, So, I kind of like react to competition. So in art school, you have people in class. We're like 32 or so in class. It's competitions like drawing is a course. This one is a course, and you want to be the best. So in drawing, I was like the best in drawing. I was like the best in painting.
Excellent.
So by my second year, I didn't want to leave the competition. Like I want to ride that wave till I finish. And I remember that I told myself at the time that once I'm even done with 4 years, I will still go to England and go and do something else. I still didn't want to be an artist.
You're still trying to move away from art.
So I only did the 4 years because of competition. I just wanted to be the best till I leave. So by the time I was done, that was when I did the 1 year. After I was done with uni was when I did the 1 year with Tolawewe. So Tolawewe's influence and another artist that I met in Lagos called Donald Onoa. Those two guys were like the factors that made me become like professional and dump all my ideas of going to do something else. Because they was like, you're good at this thing, and these two artists at that time, they were doing very well professionally.
Okay.
So I wanted to be like them, emulate them. They were successful, they were making money, they were doing shows all over the world. So I was like, okay, man, let me just stay with these guys. So they made me dump all the idea of, doing something else. And I just became a professional artist from then.
From then on, okay. And would you say they had a particular style that you liked, or they showed the different aspects of art, and then you now gravitated towards your own style out of the different styles?
Yeah, what they had individual styles, but what they had that got me to stick with the profession is the they had this belief in art as a tool to influence the society, in art as a tool to to make me believe, even in patriotism, they did that much with their work at the time. Because their work, Toyawell, for example, he was pretty much focused on the Yoruba um, um,
Heritage culture.
heritage, culture, um, everything about it. He wanted to propagate that so much with his work. Donald Onoa, on the other hand, was very interested in aesthetics, the beauty of being an African, like aesthetically. He loved to replicate that. So he would take the beauty he can see in the society and he just wants to keep working and letting his work, show that to the people.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah.
And what would you say were your obstacles, or shall I say challenges, along your journey? Because your journey has spanned and continues to span over 2 decades, and you've had a lot of impressive work nationally and internationally.
Yeah.
What would you say were your obstacles during that journey so far? And if you'd like to even add, what obstacles do you still face, and how?
The obstacles at the time, I would say, it was more about institutions. So I like to read because my mother made me grow up reading books. We had a big library growing up in the house. So I, as a young guy or young artist, you already read books about European institutions. So you're talking about museums, all those type of things. But we didn't have that here. So we didn't even have that many galleries. If I remember, I think that time, early 2000, like late 90s into early 2000s, I think maybe in this Lagos, Lagos is like the art capital of Nigeria, right? Maybe we had maybe 4 or 5 serious galleries at the time. So museums were not even in existence. So I could tell that we lacked those institutions. So if you want to know like serious stuff about global art history and stuff like that, you need to travel. You can't really get much here locally. So that was a big challenge because as early as that time, I discovered that when they tell you a European artist is successful globally or an American artist is successful globally, this American artist might not have left the US in his or her life. Was born in the US, went to uni in the US, career everything in US, exhibitions everything in US, but me in Nigeria, I know a lot about this artist because I'm reading about this artist through their media, through books, through institutions, internet, everything. So these artists have not left the US, but me in Nigeria, I know a lot about this artist. But this artist does not know anything about me because there's no media to carry what I'm doing. There's no institution that I'm working with here to let him see, this guy has exhibited in so museum or so global gallery. So that was something that was a pain to me. In fact, I was angry. I still am. After 20 years, I'm still very angry about things like that because you put in all this work. And because even in Nigeria, people in some parts of Nigeria don't even know what you've been doing for 20-something years because there's really no channel for them to know. So how will somebody even in America even know? Somebody in Cameroon does not even know. In Egypt does not even know. But the person in America, I know. Why? Because I have a CNN blasted it in my face every day. I have books about this artist because they were writing books, putting everything in history books, putting in different channels for the world to know. We didn't have that here. So that was a big challenge. Then another one is patronage at the time was not really great. So we had a lot of Oyibo people buying our works. And I didn't really like that because you are selling, but your Nigerian people don't even collect your work. They don't even really, know what you are doing. It was not a question of money. It was a question of interest,
I
right?
understand.
So, they were not buying. So that time you tell people that you're an artist, they're like, what is that? You know? It's not as if you don't have money in your pocket, but they don't even know what you're doing.
They can't relate. They
Yeah,
can't.
yeah. That was a challenge. I didn't like those two factors at the time. It has improved now. It can be better, but I'm just saying those two were real serious challenges for me.